structuring and setting and character. Oh goodness no, it is straightforward. So what you're doing is you go back to the children and go, you've nearly written a first paragraph. You've nearly got it there. If you had a little bit more about the old man walking, you'll have done your first paragraph. You've only got 3 to do. So what you do is you divide the story into 4 to 5 paragraphs and you stretch. It's like pulling it, each topic sentence. So the old man walking on the road, that's my paragraph. Slowly the old man lived painfully along the long dusty road through the fierce heat of the late afternoon sun. He'd been walking since early morning and would continue to walk slowly and painfully until the onset of dusk. All he is doing is walking. You know, I'll put a little bit more in there about, he's always searching for something. I've done 1 paragraph. A second paragraph is going to be walking along, really sad because he can't find his daughter, falls down a hole. Okay? Third paragraph, and it's done. I've done it. So really do be mindful of that, actually, and keep your children in control. And I think all the time when you're teaching them about writing, I have very little time today. There's so many things I would like to have done with you, like spelling and non-fiction, but all the time you're trying to give, it's like teaching maths. You're giving them formulas so that they can be creative. You're giving them strategies and techniques, really. I'm sure you're aware of Bloom's taxonomy, aren't you? Yes. And if you think about Bloom's taxonomy, it's got create at the top. We are asking children to create before they can do. They need to actually have you modelling for them. They're looking at what writers do. This is what children are reading. Well, do they really want to read the whole book? No, they don't actually. I think just accept it. But I think what they need to do is analyse text. Look at text. Look at how just little bits of text. Highlight for me, because I give lots of photocopied pages. We'll talk about this a bit later about reading. I get them to highlight all the words they think a writer should use to create setting, or where the narrative hooks are, or where they. I don't get children to read stuff because I think it is actually quite boring. But why should they? Why should they? But really, if you give them certain activities based on analysing text and problems and categorising and sorting and looking what writers have done, I think it is very, very different. But this is just one little thing. That's a scene setting, that's a question, that's a speech characters. One thing is just to give children in groups. I'm not that keen on group work actually, but anyway, I time it. I hate losing time. It's very focused, timer on, give them a task card, all that sort of stuff. And I'll give them about maybe 10 beginnings from well-known children's novels. And I'll get them to work out what techniques writers are using for starting, for openings. Because I've showed one way of opening a story. There's tons of others. There's flashback, there's starting with a piece of dialogue, which we're going to do in a minute. You can start with setting a scene. You can start with a character description. But getting children to do that. Another interesting thing to do is to give children beginnings of stories, maybe 6 or 7, and endings, and then they're going to match the beginnings and endings. And that's quite interesting for discussion. So, I think there's things like that. I think there's things like, this is for slightly more advanced teaching. But this is, I've got about 50 different ways you can begin stories. But here's another way. John Smith's black boots crunched noisily as he made his way towards the front door. A solitary leaf fluttered down from a nearby tree. He sighed. Raising his eyes to the dark blue sky, he knocked. Now, another technique I teach is simply to have a character, in the first paragraph, walking towards an entrance of some kind. You can do whatever he likes once he gets there. And he just has to get to the door, or he or she, and knock. Now what you do, the techniques I teach you, I said, you've got to build in character and setting, but what you can do is start to introduce the character by putting the name first. Copy the children. And then what you do is you go from one part of them. either the boots, the nose, the hand, the frayed jacket, one little feature of them, and you bring in a noise, you know? It could be Mary Jones's pink high heel shoes, you know, splattered. I don't know, it's not very good. But you could have anything. You could have the nose just glistening in the afternoon sun. You could have fingernails of someone who's really highly pitted. You just focus in on one little bit and you have them moving towards the fore. Now, this is the main thing about it. I have something very small and I have something very large. I've got a nearby tree and I've got the sky. Now, why do I do that? As atmosphere, but what does it do? If you think things are visual, look at something small. It could be a bit of gravel, a bit of dust. It could be a little fly buzzing by. But when you get something small and large, what it does, it gives a big frame.